I'm Emily. I'm a fourth year international relations student and I'm the president of the Noisy Movement.
I'm Josie. I'm a third year politics student as well, and I'm head of external communications and outreach team leader.
So tell us a bit about the Noisy Movement and how it all began.
We have our lovely Neve, who's actually vice president of welfare. She started the movement a couple of years back when we heard of a trial in Cork.
These pair of pants were held up during a rape trial in Cork and basically arguing that the type of underwear that she was wearing was consensual, so that launched our first campaign called This Is Not Consent. We also have the Noise for Boys campaign surrounding male mental health. We really want to provide a platform for people.
You've talked about the two campaigns you're doing. So what else would you like the school education system to have that could, promote more mental health awareness or the importance of consent?
I definitely think that consent needs to be talked about. Personally, in my school, we campaigned to get consent classes in our last year, and the teachers, I don't know how they felt about it. I think the fact that it was promoting sex to young people didn't sit well with them, but it was a huge issue in my year at school. So I think it definitely needs to be in curriculum. And I think for mental health, it needs to be taught from a very young age, exams, stress, this is why you're coping, also identity and everything like that. And even if it's just a light conversation, it doesn't have to be a really hard, heavy chat. It could just be something just surrounding how are you feeling today? And people just recognizing how they're feeling and being I'm stressed, why am I stressed? And listening all these things. And I think, as particularly amongst young boys, it just needs to be spoken about more.
I had next to nothing said at school about consent, nothing at all. And also with mental health, I didn't feel like there was anywhere that you could go to. I mean, I left school 4 years ago now, so I'd hope there's something maybe in place. Certainly, if you wanted to see someone, you could, but it was quite a big deal. And then the teachers, it's all very cliquey. So definitely an improvement in the school system. Also at university level as well, it should continue to go on, because it's very easy when you're in a movement like we are to just think that everybody knows about consent, that everybody's talking about it. But when you're not in a movement like that, you're maybe not hearing so much about it, and you realise that issue very much needing to be addressed.
And stuff. When I was a kid in school, I think it was year 8 or something, I was quite lucky to actually have a lesson about consent, and they taught it in the form of tea. So it's if you offer someone tea and they say they don't want tea, you don't open their mouth and pour the tea down, do you? And it was a big thing in our school, because some of us didn't know what sex was. We took it kind of like a joke, but then the people that did know what sex was and stuff, they kind of got it. It was a really interesting way of doing it, and it shocked me when later on I found out loads of people didn't really learn about consent.
It's definitely a lot bigger thing at uni, obviously, because you're older. I think that's so important.
Starting this off and then going forward with this movement, how difficult is it to raise awareness?
Obviously, COVID's been a major impact. We've definitely seen a drop in the amount of funds that we are raising just purely because of COVID.
We're still at a point where we're still building our following. And I think this year, it has been difficult because everything has been online. But then at the same time, I think because everyone is on their phone, there seems to be more of an awareness around it.
What are your long-term goals now?
I think the biggest plan would be the consent test, which Neve is campaigning for.
Certainly a new campaign would be something we would like to explore, trying to raise awareness and funds for vulnerable people in society. So
how can people get involved?
We will be needing a new committee soon, as unfortunately we'll be losing a lot of members. So in the next coming months, we'll be having positions available.
Yeah, definitely send us an email, search up the Noisy Movement website, the Noisy Movement, Instagram, the Noise Movement. Just send us a message if you just want to get involved, and we'll invite you into the platform that we use called Slack, where we discuss everything in the committee.
Okay, it was great speaking to you, and the movement can keep growing and growing.